you're happy to have your face on the recording, then please leave your camera on. Otherwise, you are obviously welcome to take off the camera if you'd rather not appear in our online recording that will go onto the website. This is So next, the Stuart Brown, our CEO, will say a bit about the SNP. Thank you.
Thanks, Dorothea, and hello and a very warm welcome to everybody to this Scotland-Malawi Partnership SNP New Members Forum. The SNP is our membership network which exists to support, connect and represent the many dignified people-to-people links between Scotland and Malawi. Our Malawi-based sister organisation is the Malawi-Scotland Partnership, or MASP. If you haven't already done so, I'd encourage you to sign up to our free weekly online newsletter and to visit our website. On the events page of our website, you'll find information on forthcoming activities, and on the past events page, there are time-stamped videos where you can quickly jump to sections of events which interest you most. You're welcome to anything and everything that we do. We aim to be Malawi-led and member-led, with a membership of around 1,000, a board of 15 volunteer trustees, each with their own strong Scotland-Malawi link, volunteer committees in HR and safeguarding and audit and finance, and a staff team of 6 committed, experienced individuals. Our aim today is to have a really informal chance for new members to introduce themselves to one another and to existing members. And towards that, let me pass back to today's chair, Dorothea.
Thank you, Stuart. Just before I give you the opportunity to introduce yourselves to the group, I just want to quickly mention the other 2 members of staff that are on the call and the other 2 that are not on the call. We've got Nasim Badalia, our Communications and Engagement Officer, and Chad Morse, the Deputy CEO. And not on the call are our Youth and Schools Officer, that's Ian Mitchell, and Revia Bamusi, who is our part-time Finance Officer. But she's not on the call either. So this is just a space to sort of introduce yourselves to each other and maybe find connections. And if I could ask you to just introduce yourselves and maybe answer the following questions. What are you hoping to gain from the SNP membership? And what connections do you hope to make? And if I could maybe ask, I'm going randomly around the room, if I could ask Mike Maccabee to maybe start off. Thank you. And I hope I pronounced your name right.
It was close enough. Hi, everyone. I'm Mike McCabe. I'm the Mission Director with Zambezi Mission. I've been in post for just over a year, so I am new to the SNP, but the organization isn't. And we've been working into Malawi for the past 133 years. And what am I hoping to gain? I think, yeah, they've both got the same answer for those questions. So it is all about networking, all about relationships, all about people. Our goal is to see the gospel preached in Malawi and northern Mozambique. So however we can assist other organizations doing similar work, we'd like to do that, and vice versa. So thank you for having me here today.
Thank you, Mike, and apologies for the name pronunciation. Could I move on to Patricia, please?
Yes, hello, I'm Patricia Weir. I'm an individual, I don't belong to an organisation. I'm a retired doctor. I was a paediatric intensive care doctor in the UK, and on retirement I went out and worked in Blantyre at the Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital, and more particularly at Mercy James, which is a small surgery subsection of that. And I was involved in helping set up the running of the paediatric intensive care unit there under the director, Eric Borgstein. I was there for 2 years full-time, and I go back out for a few months each year, although I'm hoping now to be sort of teaching rather than doing clinical work, which I've been doing up until now. And I'm curious to know what's going on with the Scottish-Malawi partnership and see whether there's any other kind of ways I can become involved or assist anybody with any of their projects.
Thank you, Patricia. That's very helpful. Can I ask David to introduce himself, please? David, is it Goodwin? On
Yes,
my
it
screen,
is.
you're right next to Patricia.
Yes, it is. Can you hear me okay? Yes, so I'm David. Obviously, as you can tell, I'm English, but I live in Orkney and have done for many years now. I'm representing myself, and from this perspective, what I'm looking to get from the group is to look at business links with how we get set up and how we can expand business opportunities and provide sort of angel investor capital into startups, giving a real boost to the Malawian economy. It's something we've been looking at for a while, and we've identified this as a prospect, and we want to now start to network and start to understand how we can get set up. I've been doing quite a lot of preliminary work for the last 6 months online, but obviously we still need those people-to-people contacts, and we need to get a full understanding. It seems quite daunting from the research I've done online so far. So we need to get this to the next level now. So that's why I'm here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, David. That's very interesting. Could I move on to Alan Lavrock, please?
Yes, good morning. Apologies for the blurred image. I'm not quite sure what I've done to my computer, but I've done something. I'm Alan Lavrock. I've been involved in Malawi since 2008 and actually with the Scotland-Malawi partnership for about 12 years. My trust is called Banana Box Trust. We send container loads of stuff out to Malawi on behalf of other organizations, but we also work through a partner organization in Malawi, and we're building small businesses with the idea of funding self-sustaining school feeding programs, and we're looking to work with 1,000 schools in due course. Currently it's 0, but we're working on it at the moment. So that's me.
Thank you, Alan. Next on my screen is Sam, please. Sam Riddle.
Oh, hi. Good morning, folks. Sam Riddle. I celebrate 20 years of involvement with Malawi this year. I started off with getting a grant back in 2005 to twin general practices in Scotland with Malawi, and I managed to do 10 of those. But I think Westgate Medical Practice in Dundee, where I was the manager, it survived. It's kept going. We formed our own charity when the funding finished, and I've been twinned with a clinic in Zomba for all that time. I served on the board for 6 years, and I just thought I'd join today just to catch up and see what's happening. And at the minute, we've managed recently, we were fortunate enough that we have been donated a very large bequest from a former patient, and we're looking for a medical supplier now in Malawi that we can use to be able to fund more equipment for the clinic I'm involved with. So I just wanted to catch up today, and there's 1 or 2 faces on a screen that I recognize, and it's good to see you all. So thank you.
Thank you, Sam. That's all very helpful. And as you will have noticed, we obviously have new and existing members on this call. So it's always helpful to sort of see the kind of links that might be forged between the new and existing members on this. So I'm just going through the screen. The next person here I've got is Duncan Davidson.
Yes.
If you wanted to introduce yourself.
Hello. I'm very much junior in relation to what we've just heard. Very impressive group of people. I heard about the partnership yesterday, so I'm a very fresh man. I'm interested because I'm interested in Scotland's action for climate change, and it seems to me that we need to be motivated by interacting with countries such as Malawi that will suffer from climate change. So that's really why I'm here, to find out what's going on in the partnership and to explore these ideas further, maybe. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Duncan. There's obviously lots of other things that we do, and what Stuart mentioned before, where you have options to sort of interact with others who are interested in similar themes as well. Next person is Helen on my screen.
Hello, I'm Helen Taylor from the Scottish Borders. My involvement with Malawi is very low-key compared with everybody here, but our church has had a link with a church in the Zomba area for about 20 years. And during that time, there's been occasional visits, reciprocal visits during this time. However, 2 years ago in 2023, I got the opportunity to visit the Zomba area and my partner parish, along with 3 people from Innerleithen who were going to another parish within the Zomba area. And before that visit, I was able to set up a link between my village primary school, Heriot Primary School, and the primary school in the community that I was going to be visiting. And so that was the start of really quite a good, enthusiastic relationship between our primary school, which is very, very small, and the school out in my partner community, a place called Luatala. And so we were letter writing before my visit, so I took letters out with me, and letters came back with me from my visit. And that's been a very interesting partnership from both sides, very enthusiastic. The children in Heriot Primary School in 2024, the following year, they were given an opportunity by the teacher to do fundraising for a good cause, which they do every year. And they decided to choose their partner school in Malawi. And 11 children were given a pound to grow, and £500 was made for the partner school in Malawi, which is a huge amount of money for them over there. And so the most significant donations we've made have been towards solar lighting for the classroom for the oldest children, and also their feeding program, the maize that somebody else has referred to. So this year, in 2025, last month, I actually got the opportunity to go back to Luatala, again with people from Innerleithen. And so this time I was able to make a visit to the church and the community, and also to the school, where there's been a lot of changes, some of it occasioned through the donations from Heriot Primary School, which was really pleasing to see. Also, a very unimportant but interesting fact, when I went out the first time, one of the Innerleithen leaders, he wanted to initiate recorder playing in their community. And I also took some recorders out to my community. And so when I was there in June this year, the recorder group actually performed for me, which was really nice to see that they're still continuing with their recorders. And the group in Heriot Primary School likewise. So we're exchanging tunes quite regularly. And the other thing that has been interesting to me from the SMP perspective is at the beginning of this year, before I even knew that I had the opportunity to go back to Malawi, I enrolled for the beginner's Chichewa language class, which was a really good course, a 7-week course. And when I went out to Malawi this time, people were delighted that I could say a few words in Chichewa. I can't understate how pleased they were that somebody visiting was able to actually converse to a very small extent in their language. So that was a really very positive thing that I've got out of the SMP already. So thank you.
Thank you, Helen, and wonderful that you could make use of your Chichewa that you learned earlier this year. So thank you, Zikomo. Next on the list here, I've got John.
Oh, hi, yes, good morning, everybody, in particular to Sam, who we may recall me from the times. I think I should probably best describe myself as a repeat offender. I also had a grant from the Scottish Government at the same time Sam did, and mine was around organising sustainable elective partnerships for medical students, many of whom have an opportunity to spend a few months overseas in their senior years. And we were looking to establish links with Malawi and surrounding countries to establish meaningful ongoing partnerships for that form of trade, which has rumbled on in Dundee. And I've now got to the exciting stage of my life, some call retirement, but it's not quite worked out that way. And I've ended up founding a charity with a lady by the name of Amy Earnshaw Blake. Some of you may have come across before. She was once upon a time chief executive of the Schools for Malawi program. Or was it Classrooms Malawi? Sorry, I can't. Yeah. Because she is similarly motivated to try and extend this work. So basically we have a new charity called Fair Trade Electives, where we're looking to roll this model out much more broadly around the globe and around all UK medical schools. We are in our early days. We've literally got our first handful of students on placements at the moment, but our systems are getting up and running. And Amy very thankfully encouraged me to come along and meet the group again. The SMP was just getting started when, kind of 20 years ago when I was first involved, and I've then gone off and carried on with the day job, as it were. So it's really nice to be getting back in touch with like-minded people. And yeah, you never know what's going to come from the networking. What do we want to get out of it? I want to further the aims of the organization we're setting up. If this fires anybody up to be involved or make contact, or I can bend some ears, that's what I'm after. Like any entrepreneurial business, whether it's a profit-making one or not, you're looking for any opportunity to make things work that little bit better, aren't you? So who knows? But it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, John. That's wonderful to hear, and I hope, we will definitely be in touch. We will have links to students, etc. So hopefully that will come to much more. The person next to you is Heather, which seems to work. So we go from health to health.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to join you. I'm here in Argyll, where my internet connection is a little bit wobbly, and it took me a wee while to connect. So if I do disconnect, or if I find it wobbling again, I'll turn off my camera. But just to say, many of you will know that I have been involved with the Scotland-Malawi partnership for some time, for not as long as Sam or Alan, but about 12, 13 years, involved in cervical cancer prevention. First of all, in Nkoma Mission Hospital, which is near Lilongwe, and then across 8 different hubs in each region of Malawi, delivering cervical screening and same-day treatment, which we reached over the whole period since 2013, probably around 150,000 women, which is wonderful. But unlike those of you who have been brave enough to set up charities, all this work has been done through NHS Lothian, NHS Scotland, and the University of Edinburgh, where my main partner is Dr. Christine Campbell, whom one or two of you might know. So our funding finished last year, but in terms of what we were doing, we wanted it to be sustainable. And we are thrilled that our Malawi partners have kept on going with the screening in all the hubs. Most of the spokes, the outlying health centres, cannot now afford the fuel for extra outreach clinics, which they were doing when we were funding the fuel. But we do feel that we've got something that is sustainable if we can persuade the government to pick it up nationally. So that's in my professional role. Where we go from there right now, other than the fact that the Malawians are keeping it going, we're not quite sure, because as I say, we have not set up a charity and we do not have current funding. I was the chair of the Scotland-Malawi partnership until November last year, having really enjoyed my time both on the board, and it's harder work and much more time consuming as chair, but it was still a great privilege to be able to pay back a little for the wonderful help, support and connections I'd had through Scotland-Malawi partnership. I agree with Helen. doing a little bit of Chichewa is really helpful, it's good. And that was the SNP that initiated that. But right back to the beginning, it was the SNP staff of the time who actually gave Christine and me enough information, encouragement, and determination to actually start before we got any funding. So yeah, there's loads of resources to make use of within the SNP. So the third thing, because I actually have been retired a very long time, and I'm now more retired from almost everything, except we live in Argyll, and our local church in Loch Goilhead, which is, as of this month, linked to Strathur and Inverary. Now, the Strathur Church is the church that hosted the Raven Trust, which Alan will remember and predates the Banana Box Trust. And while the Raven Trust does not exist, there are still people in the Strathur parish who'd quite like to resurrect the link that there has been, was at that time, with Equindenny Parish Church. And the retiring minister in March gave his retiral gift to help our cervical screening program in Equindenny continue. So the two are being linked, but we are real novices in getting a church link. And I will be looking to Helen, Alan, and all those who've got good church links to help us develop that. The congregations are tiny here, really tiny, and very elderly. And so there is a real hesitancy that we can do much. And so really looking forward to thinking what actually is practical. And if we can persuade the two local primary schools, that would be great to do the sort of things you've done, Helen. I'm not sure if we can. I'm looking for ideas. And when there are new members are nearly always full of ideas and don't know how to put them into practice. So I look forward to hearing from several of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. That's lovely. Next person now is Chrissy. If you would like to introduce yourself to the group, please.
Hello, don't know if you can see me or hear me. Right. Sorry, I'm in a dark room right now. At the University of Glasgow right now. My name is Chrissy Diana Gausi, and I am from Malawi. I've been in Scotland for close to 1 year now. And yeah, back home, my background is I'm a medical doctor. Funny enough, I used to work at Mercy James with Patricia. And yeah, Chad Morse was actually my standard 5 teacher, which is kind of a full circle moment. But yeah, I've joined the partnership just for the sake of trying to network with various type of people within the goal of improving kind of Malawi's health and research systems. And yeah, so right now I'm completing my master's in immunology, and I hope that I can interact with all of you on a one-to-one basis as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chrissy. So we've already got links from previous times and can re-establish them now, which is great. Blesius, if you could please introduce yourself. I hope I pronounced that name right.
Yeah, that's correct. So my name is Blesius. I work with the University of Edinburgh in the School of Geosciences. I'm a database developer and longitudinal studies. So I joined the SMP this year. I was primarily introduced by Stella and then Chad Moss. They took me through to join, and then yeah, here I am. So my main goal and a benefit that I'm gonna get from this is, like one of us has already said, is the connection and the links as well. Mainly on a personal basis, there are a lot of things that we are doing as a family as well. We're supporting the pastors to do the outreach in Malawi, as well as women and the youth, to be able to do outreaches and able to teach other women in terms of business startups and a few other things that other women can also be self-reliant. And also on personal basis, I've also been where I've been here in Scotland. I've been also supporting pastors to go and learn in terms of agriculture things, so that the pastors are not relying much on the church, but pastors, as they retire, they should also be self-reliant at their own household level. Finally, as a family, we want to introduce a small organization. We're looking at how much we can support them from our pocket. We want to introduce an organization that will be looking at boy child, because after an assessment, we looked at mainly the organizations that are in Malawi, mainly concentrating on the girls. So we want to build future husbands, because you can't leave a boy loitering in town, in the street, and then that boy doesn't grow with basic knowledge on how best he can take care of a wife at a later stage. So that's what we want to impact on. So much of it will need more support and guidance from SMP on how best we can achieve that. But that is an organization underway, not yet established, but we're just doing paperwork. Yeah, so that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Blesius, and also very interesting to hear about your projects, and please do be in touch. I think Chad put it in the chat. Obviously, if you're happy to share your details, then please put your name and details into the chat, and then you can, that way they will also then go online and will be shared with everyone. So even if you can't manage to write them down now, you will then be able to find them on the website. The next one here is Jeremy. Jeremy, if you could please introduce yourself.
Thanks very much, Dorothea. Good morning, everybody. I'm the sort of dentist in the group, so it's sort of health, but a different branch. Been working through the University of Glasgow with Kamutsu University of Health Sciences on a Scottish government-funded partnership called the Meldent Project since 2018. Malawi has very serious challenges around dental and oral health. When we started, it had 40 dentists for, at that time, I think about a population of 18 million. It's up to about 50 dentists now for 21 million. And so we're asked if we would help to set up a Bachelor of Dental Surgery degree program so that Malawi could train its own dentists. So we've done that. And in fact, the first graduates were at their ceremony on the 30th of April this year. So just 10 to start with, but there's now 124 dental students coming through. It's still a drop in the ocean, but it's a start. And our hope is that these enthusiastic, really impressive young dentists will grasp the baton, get involved in the ministry advocacy and so on, as well as delivering clinical service. But recognizing that just training dentists alone wasn't enough, we've also worked with the Ministry of Health to develop a national oral health policy for the country, which was launched in 2022. We've completed Malawi's first national child oral health survey, looked at nearly 3,000 children, 6 and 12-year-olds, which showed really significant levels of dental decay in children. And not one of the 3,000 children had any evidence of any treatment, which shows the lack of access. And on the basis of that, the Ministries of Health and Education have now set up a task force to develop a child oral health improvement plan. And we're working along the principles of Scotland's really excellent Child Smile programme, which has had a huge impact in reducing dental decay in Scotland. Very interested to meet John online and talking about networks and partnerships. Some months ago, Stuart had asked if I would meet with Amy Blake, and we had, I think, a 2.5-hour chat over coffee in a Cafe Nero in Glasgow, because we have some experience, and I was previously head of Glasgow Dental School, of sending elective students abroad, but also I've also felt very strongly of the importance of trying to bring students into the UK from countries like Malawi. And we've had a little bit of success with that recently through the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Glasgow. So I'd be very interested to sort of keep in touch with John and Amy as your project develops. This is my second term of 3 years as a trustee. And in fact, I took over from Heather as the chair of the SMP at the end of last year. So very big boots to fill. Heather was an absolutely amazing chair. And I'm learning the first few months, there is a lot of extra activity. It's really interesting. And the staff team are just outstanding. I love actually going through to Edinburgh for Glasgow, having a bit of time in city chambers. So, just don't hesitate to ask. And particularly around visas, which can be a real issue, Chad and the team are really helpful. So it's great that you're all here, and we really look forward to all working together. Thank you, Dorothea.
Thank you, Jeremy. And we do have a last person here. It's Cliff. You are not a member yet, if I see that rightly. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Cliff. I'm just a graduate, a legal graduate from University of South Africa, but currently I'm in Malawi. I'm just interested in connections and the like, and the relationship between Malawi and Scotland, to know more about it. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you for joining us. I also wanted to say, so obviously you're all members, or maybe not quite yet. So obviously if you want to become a member, there's a link on our website. I'll share that in the chat in a second. But if you are a member, you can put a profile on our website, which actually makes you visible to lots of people who just search for your name in connection with Malawi. But it also helps members to find you under various headers. So I see we obviously have a lot of people involved in health, so that would then come up. So if anybody was to search for health, they would come onto your profile and find the contact details that you're happy to share online. So I really would encourage you to go and once you are approved as a new member, if you haven't yet, to go onto your profile and update that. If you have any issues with that, just get in touch. Very happy to help. I can add things from my side, but we generally find it better if you do it yourself. But obviously, if there's any issues, please get in touch. We definitely use it quite a lot, and like it even shows sort of geographically where you are in Scotland and then where you're linked with in Malawi. It's just a really nice tool to have. So I would definitely encourage you to look at that and possibly update that. Also on the website, other things that are really interesting to look at are our events. So it's the upcoming events, but it's also the past events, and recordings like the recording of today's event will be found there. And especially with your interest in trade, David, I would ask you, or would recommend for you to go and look at the recent Scotland launch of the Malawi Chamber of Commerce that we held here in the city chambers. And there may be contacts there that you can find in the chat, or just listen to the conversations that were held at that event. Don't know if any of my colleagues want to add anything just now.
I'll jump in with just a couple quick observations. One thing is, new members, would always like you to encourage you all to stay in touch with us. Nassim leads our newsletter that Stuart referred to earlier and comes out every week. So hopefully you're already receiving it, but we love to receive photographs of yourselves and your partners and your networks. It gives a human face to the newsletter. So anytime you want to get in touch with any updates, we'll work with you on maybe including that on the newsletter. Gives your initiatives and your organization some more limelight as well. And it was mentioned, I think, by Sam, working with Malawi for 20 years. We also need to note that it's this year's we're recognizing the Scotland-Malawi Partnership's 20th year. And we're busy programming a series of photo exhibitions that will be held throughout Scotland. Pretty confirmed that our first one will be, colleagues might need to help me on the exact date, not in front of me, in September in Killearn. So we're working with the Killearn Malawi group there, and we've been advertising via our newsletter and on the website for people to submit photographs. And we want to reiterate, this is not a photographic competition. The photographs are just to highlight your partnership with your colleagues in Malawi and tell a story. And there's a lot of guidance on our webpage about that. We can put a link in the box in the chat just now. But hopefully throughout the next year and a half as we have these series of events. We'll see you at one of the exhibitions. That's the point for us to get out of the city chambers and move across, hopefully even beyond the Central Belt, and meet with members face to face and let your communities know what you're doing with your partners in Malawi. So yeah, that's all for me. But great to see former students. Chrissy, thanks for joining us.
Actually, Chad, you want to say something about the upcoming events, the fisheries event? I don't want to say it wrongly.
Yes, I think we're gonna have two events in 12th and 14th of August, where the lessons from Lake Malawi research study that was done on looking at, Stuart actually knows this much better than me because it started before I even joined the SMP, but very interesting. Look at the colonial legacy of fishing communities on Lake Malawi and which communities did better with and the more traditional management of the fisheries. But our colleagues that have led this from the University of Strathclyde, two of their colleagues are coming over from Malawi next month, and there'll be some pop-up exhibits both at the Scottish Fisheries Museum and at the David Livingstone Birthplace Centre, respectively on the 12th and 14th of August. So those are, I know the one on the fisheries, Scottish Fisheries Museum, that registration is live, and we're just confirming the details for the David Livingstone Birthplace Centre one. So that's coming up, yeah, next month. Something a little bit different for us at the SMP, but very exciting to be able to host those events. And yes, we're, as we say, our 20th year, so we're also busy making preparations for this year's annual general meeting, or our annual gathering, as we always call it, which will be held at Strathclyde University in October. Once again, don't have the dates right in front of me, so please have a look at. We have put out a save the date on that, so hopefully you'll join us, and we'll make it an extra special annual gathering this year for our 20th.
Thank you, Chad. I actually haven't got that date in my head now either for the AGM. Stuart, over to you.
Thanks, Dorothea. Yep, the annual gathering and AGMs at the University of Strathclyde on Saturday, the 25th of October. And some other dates for the diary. So we're a non-party political organisation, the SNP, but we work cross-party. We provide the secretariat for the Malawi cross-party group in Holyrood. And the next couple of dates for that, to which you're all very welcome, they're hybrid events. The 17th of September, we're going to hear more about the Maldent project that Jeremy spoke about in his introduction, and in particular about the building of the new dental school. Really exciting, I think $5 million World Bank funded initiative, which was helped kick-started by funding from the Scottish Government in the Maldent project. So we'll hear from one of the Scottish architects involved in that, from Jeremy, and from the Malawi lead of the Maldent project, Dr. Peter Chimimba. That's on the 17th of September at 6 p.m. And then on the 7th of October, we're going to hear from Olivia Giles, the founder and CEO of the charity 500 Miles, who've done amazing work in providing and supplying orthotic and prosthetic devices in Malawi. So again, that's the 7th of October at 6 p.m. Dorothea, back to you. I wonder, it might be worth building just a little bit on the point that Jeremy made about visa support. Chad, I wonder if you want to jump in on that.
No, thanks, Stuart. Yes, we're in a fortunate position that we have a relationship a bit with the UKVI review office in Pretoria, and they always welcome support letters from the Scotland-Malawi Partnership for their members. So if any of your colleagues in Malawi are due to visit Scotland, please get in contact with us in good time. We advise at least 6 weeks before, preferably even earlier, and we can help guide you. It is a cumbersome online process with payments that are, due both for the application and for the biometric interviews that have to be held in the Lilongwe. So, unfortunately, sometimes there are refusals of the applications if they're not complete. But generally, it's straightforward, but very, I want to say exhaustive, So, but then what we do is if it's a verified member of ours and we're comfortable that the partner coming over for whatever reason, then we support that application by a direct email to the UKVI office in Pretoria. So it's not a letter that you or your partners will have. It's one that we submit on your behalf, and it gets digitally attached to their application. And generally, we have been told, informally over Zoom calls, that they find that those letters, that gives them a lot of confidence when they're reviewing the application. And generally, that really helps expedite those visa applications. So always something we can do, but because it falls on my shoulders to put those letters together, and I will plead that, please always get in contact well in advance. Sometimes members unfortunately come to us after there's been a refusal, and it's very difficult for us to do anything at that point. So, but hopefully we can guide you along the way if you have anybody coming to visit.
Thank you, Chad. Does anybody else still want to say something? Any other comments to make? We obviously look forward to seeing you again at upcoming events. Like we said before, they're all mostly hybrid, so even if you can't make it in person, you're always welcome to join online. And if you can't make it, you can always watch the recording afterwards. But it's really nice to see you there, be it in person or online. If nobody has anything else to say, then I hope you have a lovely lunch and a nice week ahead.
Nice to meet you all. Hopefully we'll see you in person someday soon.
Bye-bye.